Pick up Damar Khan on Starbase 114 and bring him to Starbase 39 Sierra. Starbase 114 is located in the Sela system in the Beta Quadrant.
So we begin our foray into Romulan affairs with an escort mission from Admiral Quinn. Starbase 39 is a Federation station close to the neutral zone and functions as a location for many intelligence operations concerning the Romulans. This Damar Khan must have important business involving them. Let's head to 114 and pick him up.
Hello! Admiral Quinn told me that you would be available to take me to Starbase 39 Sierra. From there, I'm going to the Hobus system. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about that area. Fascinating place. I've made it my life's work. This life, anyway.
This life?
I am a Trill. Some among my people are lucky enough to be joined with a symbiotic life form. We share our bodies with them, and in return they share lifetimes of knowledge and memories with us. I am Khan's 7th host, and most of us have been scientists. My predecessor, Lenara Khan, was working to create artificial wormholes. I studied the effects of supernova.
A joined Trill, then? So he has access to previous lifetimes' worth of memories from a myriad of scientists. His previous host, Lenara Khan, turned up in the DS9 episode Rejoined. Let's ask him about the Hobus system.
In 2387, the star in the Hobus system went supernova. The resulting explosion devastated the planets in the system, of course. But then it created a chain reaction that cut a path of destruction more than 500 light-years long. More than a dozen systems were affected by the Hobus event. Most notably, the Romulus system. Both Romulus and Remus were destroyed. Billions lost their lives. The thing is, an M-class planet like Romulus should have been protected by its stellar magnetosphere and its planetary magnetic field. They act like shields to protect the planet from radiation, and a supernova blast is highly energetic radiation. If the supernova is large enough, it will overwhelm those defenses, but the Romulans should have had decades to prepare for the wave's arrival. As it was, they only had hours.
Here he's addressing the fact that the Hobus supernova still remains mostly unexplained. The ferocity, speed and suddenness of the detonation took the Romulans, and everyone else for that matter, completely by surprise.
Ambassador Spock attempted to organize an evacuation, but the Romulan Senate refused. I guess they thought they had more time. That was a horrible time. Ambassador Spock had a plan to stop the wave, but after the destruction, a Romulan named Nero blamed him. Nero had a ship of awesome power. We still don't know everything about the Narada, but we think the Romulans used Borg technology to create it. Nero destroyed dozens of our ships, and even attacked a Klingon fleet led by General Worf. I hear Worf barely survived. Ultimately, Nero confronted Spock in the Hobus system. Spock managed to use red matter to create an artificial singularity to contain the worst of the supernova's blast, but both he and Nero were lost.
Spock was officially declared KIA, but we know that he and Nero did indeed survive, ending up back in time, and creating an alternate universe of events, beginning with the diversion and destruction of the USS Kelvin. This is the universe of the 2009 films, but for now, let's stay on task. What's the current political climate of the Romulan people?
In a word, troubled. Sela rules what remains of the Star Empire, and isn't shy about using the Tal Shiar and the military to bring systems back into the fold. Meanwhile, Ditan and his unificationists have formed the Romulan Republic. The Federation and the Klingons recently recognized them at Khitomer, while Empress Sela and her allies express their disapproval violently. Tensions remain high. The Remans have formed a resistance movement in response to Imperial persecution. There's a lot of bad blood between Remans and Romulans that could end rather poorly. Even more troubling are reports concerning Taurus, the former Imperial Praetor. She was ousted from power by Sela, and rumor has it she's seeking powerful allies from both within the Empire and without. Sela made a lot of enemies over the years. This could be their chance to settle old scores.
So, a three-way power struggle. You ready to go?
Packed and ready. The USS Tucker is waiting for me at the Starbase. They'll be taking me to the Hoba system. Maybe this time we'll find the clues we need to solve this mystery. Goodbye.
Goodbye. So, Sela was actually absent during the Hobus incident, having been exiled for an assassination attempt on the head of the Tal Shiar in 2386. She left with some followers to venture into unexplored space. For the 4 years she remained absent until she returned prior to 2403. Though once the Praetor, leader of the Romulan people, Taris, through a series of unpopular decisions, eventually lost the favour of her people and was ousted by Sela with military support. A year later, Praetor Sela founded the Hobus Memorial and forged the remainder of the scattered Romulan people into a new power, a new Star Empire, with not a Praetor, but an Empress. We arrive at Starbase 39 as it orbits a safe range from a desolated planet. This planet's hulking corpse is all that remains of a once mineral-rich resource in former Romulan space. The planet contained high levels of deuterium, a potent power source often used in warp reactions. Records of what transpired here are buried deep within Romulan archives somewhere. But Federation analysts have concluded that an accident triggered a planet-wide detonation of the deuterium, ripping the planet apart. The Starbase itself is that of a classic Federation design that mirrors the ESD, only lighter in frame.
Thank you for your assistance. Is there anything else you want to know?
With all the Federation Romulan history, are you scared to venture to Romulan space?
Never! The crew of the Tucker can handle anything the Romulans can throw at us. Besides, you can only learn so much from sensors and probes. To really understand the Hoba system, we need to be there.
Anything else?
The Romulans are touchy. Watch what you say or you'll be in for a fight. The Remans don't even bother talking before they fire, so I think they're more dangerous than the Romulans. Sela's found some new allies too. They're from the Delta Quadrant, but I don't know much about them. Wish me luck! Oh, and I'd check in with Admiral Tenay before you leave. She might have new orders for you. Goodbye.
Goodbye again. With our uneventful escort completed, we beam down to the station.
You may have heard about the tragedy at Khitomer. Empress Sela attempted to disrupt the conference with a bomb, resulting in the death of Commander Tamer. Now, Sela is offering a political reconciliation with the Federation, despite the fact that we have allied with the Romulan Republic. She has invited Federation diplomats to meet with her delegation at a secure base on the edge of the neutral zone. However, we have recently received intelligence that Sela is amassing a fleet. We are sending you with the peace delegation as cover for your investigation into Sela's activities. This is a very delicate situation. You must try to covertly obtain information about Sela's plans without disrupting our peace efforts or upsetting Sela. However, we do have an agent in her retinue who will help you.
The event at Khitomer the Admiral mentions is a Romulan faction early mission, where the talks at Khitomer between the Klingons, Federation and the Romulan Republic were attempted to be derailed by the Star Empire. So it seems that the Empress wishes to smooth things over with the Federation with diplomacy. All fine and dandy, except that our intelligence says that she's also amassing a fleet. Frankly, we can't afford to blindly trust her. So it seems that the Armiger is being conscripted by Starfleet intelligence once again, and being sent undercover to investigate the delegations, and meet with our own implanted operative. They'll likely have Romulan Ale at this event, right? Sign me up. We warp into the Agrama sector and immediately receive a hail from the Empress herself, She's certainly putting out the red carpet.
Greetings and welcome to Agrama. I am pleased that Starfleet sent such a notable officer as its representative at this conference. Please enter a standard orbit and transport down to these coordinates. This meeting may mark the beginning of a new day for the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire.
Our response is a very diplomatic one. But was that hesitation I heard in her voice? Is she aware of Commander Mark Hale's background in combat and occasional work for SFI? If so, then the Tal Shiar should be commended for its thoroughness. Nonetheless, suspicion doesn't confirm itself, and we need to vet these talks, and if not a legitimate chance at peace, we need to uncover what this fleet she's amassing is for. It's easy to forget the danger we are in this location. The idyllic garden planet below us is a sight to behold. It's a shame we won't get to traipse around on its surface. Instead, we'll have to mingle with spies, politicians and ambassadors from both sides. So let's hope things don't get hostile. Still, at least we're not alone. We have several escort-class vessels here docked at some Romulan... what are they? Buoys of sorts? The Romulan architecture here is unexpectedly warm. Not at all what I was expecting. The colour scheme seems almost natural, wood-like in places, and I've got to say, the Romulans do have style. Except for that extreme shoulder pad phase in the 2370s. And it looks like the Empress is here to greet us in person.
The rest of the delegates are already in the conference room. My aide, Jevem, will take you there. I have some business to attend to before we begin.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Empress. God, she looks stern. Rumour has it that she's actually half human and her mother a Starfleet officer, but events surrounding that are sealed by temporal directives. Hey, if I'm a temporal agent, then can I have access to Shut up, pay attention. No need to be nervous. Well, it looks like something important has seized her attention for the moment. Something she'd prefer not to discuss in front of Starfleet. Exploring the facility, we can see the great emphasis placed on comfort here, with gold and purples, often the colours associated with opulence and empires, as well as natural light illuminating cultivated gardens. She does seem to have gone the extra mile to ensure that we feel at ease here. Which could be sincere, but I doubt it. All throughout the halls here we can catch snippets of conversation, most disbelieving of the Empress's olive branch to the Federation, and some downright disgusted by our presence here. Let's talk to our own ambassadors and see what they have to say.
The Romulans can be so difficult to deal with, especially these Imperials. They are forever setting traps, twisting words, and jockeying for advantage. Even a conference with the Klingons would be preferable. At least you know where you stand with Klingons. I'm reminded of a line I read once in an ancient Earth text. Hide a knife behind a smile. Every smile here hides a knife.
I thought the Federation's alliance with the Romulan Republic would be the end of any meaningful dialogues with Empress Sela. After all, she considers the Republic to be a terrorist organization. She may have an ulterior motive for inviting us here, but we had to take the chance that Sela's offer to negotiate is sincere, and act in kind. The Federation must pursue every avenue for peace.
Well, it seems the diplomats are all in agreement then. Hope for the best and prepare for the worst. They're here for the former. I'm here for the latter. There's one more Federation diplomat over there, but let's get a Romulan perspective first, shall we? We'll start with Senator Tasek.
We are so pleased that you were able to attend our conference. The Empire was quite dismayed at your decision to support the terrorist insurgents rather than the rightful government of the Romulan people. So much for your vaunted Prime Directive. In any case, neither of us benefit from extended conflict. So, despite your questionable alliances, we are choosing to open negotiations in hopes of normalizing relations between the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire.
So the Romulan Republic are officially branded terrorists then by the Star Empire. Well, obviously the Federation disagrees. As for the Prime Directive, well, they came to us for aid, and it would be an awkward situation, but if the Federation had said no, then the Klingons would have just had another ally.
Welcome to Agrama. Isn't this a lovely facility? You must tour the atrium later. Hard to believe this system was infested by Orion pirates not long ago. You know, some of my colleagues were against this meeting, but I lobbied for it. I said the entire Federation cannot be as blind as the people who were at the farce at Khitomer. If you just see the problems the Romulan Republic are causing, I'm sure you can persuade your government to reconsider their rash choice and sever their agreements with these rebels.
Councillor Narek, you sounded so promising to begin with, such a cheery fellow. Still, it's a start, and I guess rebels is a step up, I think.
I am so pleased to see the Federation recognize and attempt to rectify its past mistakes. I knew that a people as clever as yours would realize eventually that it is folly to antagonize the Romulan Star Empire. I am also confident it will only be a matter of time before you realize that you have made a grievous error by allying yourselves with terrorists, scoundrels, and thieves. The sooner you renounce your poorly considered alliance with the so-called Romulan Republic, the sooner we will be able to come to a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Ambassador Knera. Okay, this is going to be difficult. I'm glad I'm not the one doing the negotiating. If this is all a farce, I wonder if the Romulan diplomats are aware, but from all this idle background chatter, I'd say probably not.
It is agreeable to meet with you. You have my people's enduring gratitude for how you handled that matter with Ambassador Soketh. This is another trying time for Vulcan. The Romulan Star Empire blames the Vulcan Science Academy for the Hobus supernova that destroyed their world. They are utterly intransigent in this misguided belief, despite the fact that Ambassador Spock warned them of the danger and ultimately gave his life to stop the loss of even more worlds. Romulans are a most illogical people. Sometimes I find it hard to believe we were once a single species.
Ambassador T'Pela representing the Vulcan people here. Makes sense that the Vulcans would send a representative. After all, the reunification efforts were a big part of Romulan society for a while. But they didn't say that the Vulcans would send such a captive...
I apologize for the interruption. My name is Tokath. I am one of the stewards here. We've had a slight complication with the dietary requirements of some of your delegation. Could I borrow you for a moment so we can clear this up?
Toketh, right? Go away. Oh, wait, no, he could be our informant. I should play along. Not sure how much help I'd be, but sure.
Franklin Drake says you can be trusted, and that is enough for me. There's more going on here than a diplomatic conference. Sela has no interest in courting the Federation. So why is she suddenly doing so now? We're going to find out what she's up to.
You have a plan?
The lower level of this facility is off limits to everyone but the Empress and her aides. But that access hatch right over there opens up to a maintenance tunnel that leads down. The doorway is guarded, so while I distract the guards, you sneak through the door.
We'll go ahead with that plan. Also, sorry about earlier. Tokath shouts that he's discovered an unattended package, so security responds, leaving our way in open.
The hatch is just ahead in the northeast corner of the room. There will be a security room near the exit of the maintenance tunnel on the level below us. Access one of the consoles there. Maybe you'll learn more about what she's doing. I need to get back to the reception before I'm missed, but I should be able to cover your absence for a few minutes. More than that, and you're on your own.
We find the hatch quickly enough and descend into the lower levels of this complex. Clearly, guests aren't meant to be here from the industrial nature of the designs. Just behind us is the hatch from where we emerged. It doesn't take us long to locate the security console, where Tarsi has the idea of using it to monitor Sela. This room must be a security checkpoint of some sort, replete with a small armory. we access an unencrypted terminal to see a number of functions we can interact with. Security camera feeds, a log of communications, and the ability to eavesdrop on active calls. Opening the log, we find an encoded message from a Commander Tangent to Empress Sela. Per our agreement, my ships have acquired the Borg sphere and towed it to the Pilatus system. I anticipate your prompt acceptance of our new hunting grounds and the interesting prey you have promised us. A Borg sphere. Sela has acquired a Borg sphere? And who is Commander Tangent? Well, Commander is a Romulan designation, but the letter mentions an agreement. If they were part of the Star Empire, Sela wouldn't need to arrange, she'd order. Are these the new allies that were alluded to by our Trill scientist, Damar Khan? Well, let's look at the security feed.
Empress, the fleet is on its way to Vulcan.
Excellent. Have the weapons loaded aboard my ship. I will depart as soon as they are on board. At last, we will have our revenge for the destruction of Romulus. Hail Hakiv and put him through to my personal terminal. Then leave me. I have matters to attend to.
Yes, Empress.
The fleet's target is Vulcan. How unfortunate, it's all a ruse. We'll switch to a new camera.
Begin playback of file 2895 Gamma.
After I left Starfleet, I made it my life's work to reunite the Romulans with their Vulcan brothers. For many years, I lived among them and waged a campaign of peace. 21 years ago, the star of the Hobus system went supernova and sent a wave of devastation across the quadrant. I promised to save the Romulan homeworld. I failed.
Computer end file. I cannot suffer more of that arrogant fool. Soon, Vulcan will suffer the same fate as my world.
Nice as it was to hear Ambassador Spock's message, when did he record this? 21 years ago, Spock disappeared to the Kelvin universe, unless we've been in contact since then and he's relayed a message back to our universe, which I guess could be the case.
I have Hakiv, Empress.
Patch him through.
Greetings, Empress.
My fleet has launched for Vulcan. I expect you to rendezvous with us there.
Alas, I must disappoint you. The terrorist cells of the Romulan Republic demand my full attention.
Khitomer did not go as planned. Now they have powerful allies.
With Taurus missing.
Spare me your excuses, Hakiv. Nothing is more important than avenging the destruction of our homeworld. You disappoint me, Hakiv. I trust you will not do so again.
Sounds like the attack may be smaller than planned, but still, we need to move. We grab a copy of the logs and disable the transport inhibitor. Something tells me we may need to make a quick escape. On the way out, we find the weapons that will be used in the Vulcan attack, and Tarsi notes Thalaron radiation, an outlawed substance, at least by the Federation. This degrades organic matter and was a favoured weapon of former Praetor Shinzon. Once again, spatial charges are the answer to many of Tarsi's problems. After placing the final one, we retreat to a safe distance.
I should have known the Federation would send spies instead of diplomats. And you call us treacherous.
Yes. And hypocrites.
No matter. You may have destroyed these weapons, but my fleet is already en route to Vulcan. You cannot stop what has begun. Guards! Capture the intruders!
Okay, maybe disabling the transport inhibitors was a bad idea. Well, there's no choice here. We'll have to fight our way out, though we can make use of the containers to move to a more opportunistic vantage point for combat.
Whatever you did down there, it made quite an impression. Good work on disabling the transport inhibitor. Your ambassadors are safely back on their ships, but I had to blow my cover to get them there. Now it's time for me to get out while I still can. Farewell.
Thanks for your help infiltrating the Romulan embassy, Tokath. With that said and done, we need to beam ourselves out. It's a shame we've lost our informant, who could have been more useful, but at least he made it out alive with the Federation entourage. Back on board the Armiger, Tactical notes that the docking satellites have deployed a dampening field that we can overload with a feedback pulse. The other ships haven't pulled away yet, so it's up to us to aid them. It's easy enough to destroy them at range, but each satellite's destruction causes a series of Romulan vessels to decloak to engage us. The first is guarded by 3 Tavaro light warbirds. They are easy enough to deal with minimal effort. The ambassadorial ships manage to pull away to avoid combat. The second spawns in 2 Tavaro ships and a Mogai heavy warbird. The best tactic here is to take out the weaker ships first, as their heavy torpedoes are only moderately threatening, but reducing the incoming fire at any opportunity is preferable. The next warbird implodes as it loses containment on its singularity core, and it's on to the last satellite.
I would not have believed anyone capable of this treachery, even Sela.
The last was guided by a Dideridex-class warbird, the iconic backbone of the Romulan military. This ship can prove to be a handful even at low levels, let alone higher difficulties. It's best engaged at range, and I mean it. Its shielding is easy enough to punch through with sustained fire on one side, but it does possess a high recharge for them. Its hull is a little slower on repair, but it has a lot of armour. Get too close, within 2 kilometres, and it unleashes a shockwave that does substantial damage, but closing within merely 5 kilometres, and it will engage a tractor beam, locking you in place. Once it has you snared, you can look forwards to a trio of heavy torpedoes that will leave you critical if you're lucky. I was frequently unlucky in this fight. It's possible to target and destroy the plasma torpedoes before impact, but once again, range is key here as you'll need time to target them. Dealing with at least one of them will increase your chances of survival, but you'll be in no shape for an up-close battle afterwards. Once caught in a tractor beam, hold fire and wait to shoot them down immediately as the torpedoes are launched, all the while pulling away with as much juice as you can muster whilst maintaining shield strength and fortifying with defensive abilities, though it's frankly just better to avoid being caught at all. 5 kilometres away, remember that. With that warbird down, long-range communications are restored.
I had not expected to hear from you so soon. Was your mission successful?
The Romulans are going to attack Vulcan.
I should have expected as much. You cannot trust them. I never do. I am contacting all available ships. We will meet you there.
The Armiger's in pretty bad shape, but orders are orders. We'll just have to bodge the repairs along the way.
Thanks to your warning, we were able to divert some ships to defend Vulcan. I have come to personally command the defense. The other forces have already been briefed. Your role in this battle will be to defend the science vessels that have set up a tachyon detection grid to detect any cloaked Romulan ships. We cannot allow any enemy ships to slip through. The ships maintaining the grid will be priority targets for the Romulans, but they must remain in position or the grid will collapse. That is why I need you to protect them.
How can you fight what you cannot see? Surrender now, and I may give you a merciful death.
Our tachyon detection grid has revealed scout ships attempting to penetrate the perimeter.
So, we're to keep the Romulans away from the science vessels. The tachyon detection grid exposes cloaked vessels if they get too close, which the Romulan forces need to do in order to bombard the surface of Vulcan with their Thalaron weapons, or I guess their regular warheads, now that we've destroyed their depot in Agrama. Our first targets are these 3 little Tavaro scouts, nothing we haven't dealt with before.
Your attempts to interfere are meaningless. Vulcan must pay for its crimes.
The next target is this Mogai warbird trying to take out our grid. This time the Federation vessels will fight back, aiding us in their defence, but as one is destroyed, another warbird decloaks to continue the work.
All forces, advance and destroy them.
Target shield has failed. Sela has launched her assault. Science vessels, maintain formation. All other forces converge on the Romulan fleet.
We continue to pummel the second Mogai ship until it gives in and is destroyed, but in the interim, the bulk of the Romulan forces have decloaked and begun to advance upon Vulcan some distance from the Armiger. But fortunately, the Federation fleet has arrived in full and engaged the Armada. We have enough time to deal with the final warbird Deridex class before we are ordered to join the fray. This is a hectic fight, and this is only a fraction of the forces Sela wanted to commit to the Vulcan attack. Green disruptors and burning phaser fire strobe the distant ships as they arc around one another, lining up firing solutions and trying to evade enemy sights. The Armiger is a tiny ship compared to all this, but battered and bruised as we are, we still have to pull our weight. The Deridex, Mogai and other smaller ships exchange fire with our larger Federation allies. If we draw the attention of one of these warbirds, this could be trouble, so let's see if we can find something our own size to pick on. There! A Tavaro! We can take that out. Oh, frack.
Reinforcements are en route. Hold the line.
Oh, we're in the crossfire! We're in the crossfire! Move! Move! Oh, I feel like we're pulling some proper evasive manoeuvres here, trying to stay out of the way of all these ships firing at each other. Oh, there's a Centaur-class vessel there. Try not to hit it. And is that a Galaxy class? I think that's a Galaxy class. Okay, let's just pick the nearest Romulan warbird and start firing. There, that one will do. Open fire on that one. Okay, we just took out a Tavaro warbird. Let's pull up before it explodes. Okay, we're good, we're good. Oh, we're not good. It's a little hard to tell what's going on with us caught in the middle like this, but I think we're winning. There seem to be less Romulan ships now. And the last Romulan ship now is the IRW Lival, Sela's flagship, based on a scimitar vessel originally designed to rival the Dominion heavy ships at the close of the 24th century. It takes sustained fire from all corners and eventually engages its cloak to pull out.
You may have won this day, but the fight will continue. Romulus will be avenged. There will be blood for blood, death for death. My world is gone. I will not rest until Vulcan suffers the same fate.
Vulcan tried to help Sela. The Federation tried to help. We just want peace.
Indeed. Then why does Starfleet use ships equipped with weapons of mass destruction? Why did the Vulcan Science Council willfully refuse to assist us when there was a chance to save our world? Every sorrow in my life can be laid at the feet of the Federation.
You are blinded by anger and grief. The Romulans turned down Vulcan aid officially. Temet has noticed some unusual readings amid the Romulan debris, so we limp on over to investigate. She recognises certain energy signatures as being of Borg origin. Now, this ties into what we found from the messages we hijacked earlier in the mission, but for now we're in no shape to chase up further leads. Power fluctuations rack the ship. I doubt the Armiger could make warp. I think we should probably evacuate the crew to a nearby Federation ship. We complete the mission and hand in to Admiral Tenay, as she is the Chief of Romulan Operations and the head of this task force, so for most of this arc, she will be our direct Federation contact. What seems to have her understandably concerned is the presence of Borg technology amid the Romulan ships. Sela is unstable. Her vendetta against the Federation is risking her people's safety, taking them into pointless one-sided conflicts like attacking a Heartland Federation world with less than an optimal armada and ignoring or burying any facts that conflict with her self-appointed mission and position of power. Tenay suggests that Sela may come round, but I doubt it. Her hold over the Romulan people relies on her being aggressive against us, the Federation, keeping her own people from looking too carefully, because if they begin to question her goals, her information, then, like the Romulan Republic, they may seek to escape her clutches. But we have concerns of our own right now. The Constitution-class Armiger, like Mark Hale, is a relic of another era. It's been brought forwards in time to continue a fight it was never designed for, and despite numerous upgrades, this time proved one too many a fight, and she needs to be put to rest. Tenay says that Vulcan and Starfleet owe us a favour for uncovering Sela's target, and our rapid response, and I agree. So let's just see how grateful they are. Thanks for watching the continuing stories of the USS Armiger, as we explore the ever-expanding narrative of Star Trek Online, and I hope to see you back for the next part.